Awesome. Welcome to another episode of Fight the Burnout, where we talk to everybody and anybody who is willing and open to talk about, what they do and how they prevent burnout or have overcome burnout. We all have different definitions for burnout, but obviously for us on the show, burnout is where you feel, not yourself, where you're run down and things just don't feel right, and you're just not as productive, you don't perform as well, and we want to help you get out of it. So today we're privileged with a good buddy of mine, Craig Rhind. Hey, I've known him for quite a while. We used to do a lot of firearms competition shooting together, where obviously you got to perform at a high level. But also, I also know that he's gone through a bit of a journey a few times with burnout and that. And so I asked him to come on the show, and he said yes. So welcome, Craig.
How
Um,
you doing?
Good, man. Good. Again, thanks for coming on, and thanks for being here. It's awesome to one catch up with you again, and two hear a bit of your story. I know I've talked to like even my cousin, and I've talked to many people on this interviewed many people that I know personally, and I learned new things about them. So I'm interested to see what I'm going to learn today, because we worked together with each other through my burnout. You were there for me then. I know you've gone through some stuff recently. I've been there for you. So Craig, why don't you tell us a little bit about your backstory, where you come, where you're from, what you do, and all those kind of fun things.
Okay, yeah, well, um, I originally came from up Thames up Coromandel. I'm a coastal boy. Um, love fishing and hunting and all the rest of that stuff that goes with it. Um, background is I'm a gas and steam turbine engineer, so I spent pretty much most of my career building and repairing jet engines and power stations and all sorts of weird and wonderful engineering, which is, yeah, engineering's my passion. It's my love. As much as I get paid for it, I still love going on those journeys and projects. So, um, yeah. So, um, hobbies wise, hardcore, as Chris has mentioned to you, hardcore competitive nature, into competitive shooting, competitive mountain biking. Um, I used to race go karts, used to do all the crazy, fun, adrenaline junkie stuff that us crazy boys like to do.
Yep.
Uh, and I'm 38, so I've had to slow down a bit now. I've got two children and one beautiful stepdaughter, and she's amazing, little 3-year-old. Um, so yeah, I've got an elder daughter who's 14. She's amazing too, and I've got the coolest son I could ever possibly have. He's been my rock. So yeah, and I've got a lovely partner, Emma. Yeah, so the last 2 years have been a massive, massive journey for me, and I've learnt a lot. I was firstly in a relationship that um, went very sour, went very south. Um, I learnt a few things about my ex that I wish I'd never had to learn. Um, and But not only that, I was managing a very, very, very heavy workload at the same time, and a lot of strenuous work and traveling. Um, and for a time there, I was feeling pretty burnt out. I was pretty tuckered out. Um, Although there was always a glimmer of hope, and I always just pushed forward and proceeded. Um, yeah. Um, the last 2 years, including COVID, has has taught me a lot about myself, and it taught me a lot about my family, and taught me a lot about how the world works. So, yeah, uh, I'm feeling good now. I'm out the other side. I'm feeling amazing. I'm back, getting into my fitness. Um, got the kids and the partner around me, and yeah, life's on its way back up. So there's always a silver. There's always a shining light at the end of it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. And yeah, like we've had, obviously we're buddies, so we've had a lot of talks about different stuff over the last few years, even before that. 'Cause I know when you were younger, went through some stuff as well. Before we go kind of into that, just so that people have an idea, kind of like a gauge line, what would you classify for you? Like, what is burnout to you? Like, what would you classify it as if you had to put it into words?
Um, to me, burnout is wearing yourself down, wearing yourself down, or wearing others down to a point where you feel like there's no more down, and your body and your mindset is just stagnant, and you're not reclimbing the ladder to put yourself in that um, you know forward motion.
Yeah. Cool. Gotcha, man. Gotcha. So, tell me, Craig, a little bit about when would you say the first time that you experienced burnout was?
The first time I ever experienced burnout, um, in a true sense, the form was uh, realistically 2019. Um, it's where my uh, my my marriage fell apart,
Mm,
and I found out some things that really made things go south. But also, I was working long hours at the same time, and that I got to a point where I was just exhausted. Just
mm,
just felt like I felt yeah what I believe was burnout. Um, and but there again, there was a glimmer of hope for me that I had some amazing friends, had some wicked friends, had an amazing family, everything. There was everything to look forward to. And I woke up one day and realized, you know what? No, got to get out of this. Got to. I've been bucked off the horse. Got to grab the reins, throw a leg back over, and ride off yonder.
yeah, I love it. I love it. So, what was it? What was it that that made you all of a sudden realize, nah, I need to shift. I need to change. I need to work on me.
Um, my friends, my kids, my life, my health. I could I could see that everything was just, if I didn't man up and fight the burnout, I was going to lose it all.
Mm,
And went, no, this ain't happening. And yeah, that was the turning point.
mm. And so, what was the first thing that you did?
So the first thing that I did was made sure that I had a good solid bond with my mum and dad,
Hmm.
my sister, and then also obviously the kids as well,
Yeah.
Fabian and Ella. And then just set myself some goals, did a bit of goal setting, did a bit of mind mapping, put myself in a direction I wanted to go. Work was pretty tough at that time. It was pretty stressful, but work was also an escape. Work was an escape from other realities. And so I threw myself into the projects that I'd won overseas.
Yeah.
And so I would just, I would just, while I was sitting on the plane traveling, I would do some goal setting. And I was realistic about it as well. You know, I made it the goals, achievable goals, and I gave them a time frame.
Mm,
And I knew that in my mind that if I didn't achieve a goal by the time frame, that's okay, because I've got another chance to have a go at it. But
mm.
also with life, you've got to accept a certain amount of failure as well as progression.
Yeah.
So and realizing that it was really what made me turn.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Yeah, goal setting is one of those things that is very underestimated. I was talking to somebody just yesterday, and she's going through some stuff, and she's like, "Oh, I'm like, well, have you set yourself out any goals? Just little tiny ones." And she's like, "Oh no, I haven't." I was like, "Go do it," because even just little tiny things, a goal. I'm gonna get out of bed today. If you're at that level, that's a massive goal for you. That's a massive thing. It's good to hear. So, um, what was the next step that you took, like to keep yourself going out of that? Obviously, work was crazy. You threw yourself into a bit of that, but also started setting some goals. So, what was the next step that you took?
Yeah, the biggest thing for me was uh, effectively getting my life back on track. You
Mm,
know, sorting things like buying back my beautiful home that I absolutely love. Um, Make sure focusing on personal development, my fitness, because that's one thing else I noticed when you get burnout. Your fitness, you get to a point where I was packing on the weight,
mm,
um, and even though my friends and that they cared about me and they know that I like to be honest and straight up, they'd look at me and see that I was packing on the beef. And um, some of my true friends, and I appreciate it, would actually mention it to me.
mm,
And you know what? That just drove me harder to
yeah.
to push me. Um, and having my boy, my son Fabian, along the journey with me, back into fitness. Uh, yeah, that's a big thing. That's brought the bond between my son and me so much closer.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, getting that bond with family, with your children. That's it just again, I say this all the time. Simple things.
Yeah,
People think that you gotta go do all these complex and simple things. Just go back to your roots.
yeah,
It's just getting back to them.
yeah.
Question for you, Craig. What do you believe caused you to even get to this state in the first place?
Overcommitted.
Hmm.
I'd say that's the biggest thing. I was very much a yes man. Um, Even though in my mind I'd be going, that's no, I can't fit that. But oh no, I'll make it happen. I'll make it work. I was very much a yes man, and I overloaded myself. Um, the Trying to manage a job situation that realistically, it's a single person's life, traveling the world doing what I used to do,
Hmm.
whilst having um, a wife and kids here at home, which ultimately, those things is what got me in that situation.
Hmm.
I've realised that now, and yeah, in the process of continuing to change that.
Awesome, man. Awesome. That's awesome to hear. So, what would you tell yourself? Well, what things would looking back, obviously hindsight's an amazing thing, but
Hindsight.
I always like to look back and go, okay, cool. What could I have told myself? What could I have done differently so that I don't make the same mistakes in the future? Not as a thing of living in the past, but a thing of learning from the past. So if you could, what things did you learn from back then that maybe if you could have, say done it differently so you don't do it again in the future, would you have done differently back then so you didn't get to where you did?
I don't like to dwell on the past too much. I'm
Mm,
very much a forward thinker and just go, well, that was yesterday or that was last week. Let's just get on with life, and let's just move and progress. Um, the biggest thing for me would have been, and I've learned from it, would be the yes man thing,
mm,
which is saying yes to everybody, trying to fit everybody in, trying to help everybody, to the point where you're the one that needs the help. And that's what it got to.
Would you say
I'm not
that you
just
said
talking,
yes to yourself or did at all?
no, I didn't. It was too much yeses for everybody else, and my whole persona was put on the back burner.
Yeah. So now you don't, and now you say yes to yourself first, don't you?
Say yes to myself now. I still help others, and I still try and motivate others that I could see have been where I've been.
Yeah.
But not just through the personal situation, but also through the work situation. So, like, I've got 2 junior engineers that come to me, and I give them a bit of training. These are 2 engineers that are, well, soon to be engineers, I should say, 2 apprentices that are looking for, some hands-on experience on specialized tooling or specialized processes that I've done for years. And they can't get that out in the work. They can't get it in their normal day-to-day workplace. So it's about helping build the future as well.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. But I take it at the same time, just to clarify for listeners, you still also, in a way, put yourself first so you can then turn up for them.
Exactly. Yeah. I put myself first, a lot more than I used to.
Yeah.
Because I've now realized that if you don't help yourself first, you can't help others.
Yeah.
You're no good to anybody else.
Yeah.
You can't help anyone else.
Yeah. No, definitely. I definitely say that. So with those young apprentices that are coming and helping, what do you try and, or even the people that you see that are struggling, what do you try and teach them?
Trying to teach them that there is a way out. There is progression forwards. Life's going to throw you ups and downs. It's not always a, excuse my language, shit sandwich. We're put on this earth. We've got a limited time here. Then we'll just enjoy it and drive yourself forward. Don't forget about the what ifs, but think about the what can I do.
Yeah, I like that the what ifs will always be there. It's a matter of learning how to transform them into a positive what if, not a negative what if.
Yeah, exactly. And as soon as you can do that, you're progressing forward, or you're on the road to recovery.
Yeah, and it's always just one step in front of the other, isn't it?
Yeah, it's always one step in front of the other, but sometimes you got to take bigger steps than others.
Yeah, and sometimes you actually have to get knocked backwards so you can take a different route and go around the wall.
Exactly. Well, as you know, being an engineer, I'll just build something to go over the
wall or through it. Yeah. Figure out what. That actually brings me up to a thing. Like, I mean, we've known each other for a very long time. You knew me back in the police. You knew me back in my dark days.
Yeah.
And I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty adamant that I got a pretty strong head. Like, nothing really knocks me. But in a way, like you just said, build a wall, build something to go over it or through it. What I've found is that actually having that strong mind is an excellent thing, but it's a detriment if used in the wrong way. If you use it to just always drive through stuff instead of actually taking a step back and going, hey, wait a second. What's actually really going on here that's actually causing me to constantly hit my head against this fucking brick wall?
Yeah.
And trying to always push through it. Okay, how do I step back so I get pulled? Yeah, it's one of those things. I think guys are really, we do it a lot. I don't know. For me personally, I feel like, and I want to know your thoughts on it. You end up, it's almost an ego thing, and then as soon as you let go of that ego, you actually progress and so much faster, easier. Things happen a lot better. You feel better. You feel more alive, but it does take a lot to get there.
Yeah, it's very much a machoism
Mm,
like type of attitude. Like, I when I think about that, I symbolize the peacock, the male peacock.
mm.
You know, when he's ready to mate. Puts the massive feathers up and all the rest of it. Big, proud, tough, staunch type of macho attitude. And whilst yes, that works for him there, there's probably many times in his lifetime that that doesn't work.
Oh, yeah, no. You think about it, he puts it up. He's this macho thing and says, "Look at me." From
I'm
memory
not
of
sure I understand.
from memory, Siri doesn't understand. From memory, as soon as the other peacock, the female peacock comes over, that tail kind of goes away when they actually go to. So he actually goes back into himself and who he actually is,
Exactly.
and so in turn showing the best versions of himself in both ways.
Exactly.
So, Craig, let me ask you this. As you know, I'm a bit of a why guy. I like to ask the question why people do what they do. Um, what would you say your why is that gets you through the easy and the hard times in life?
Why? Because I look back on it. Um, I look back to the kids.
Mm,
They're my first and foremost priority. My partner, my family, um, my lifestyle choices.
mm,
That's the whys. Why I do what I do.
mm,
Um, why I look back and knew that back when I was what I believed to be burnt out, I stood up and took hold of the reins of the the horse again.
mm.
Um, yeah, that would be my ultimate thing. Why?
Wow.
Um,
Cool. So why my underlying belief from doing lots of work and stuff like that is that everybody has like a singular why that drives them in life, relationship, work, all of it. If you had to think about like your overall umbrella picture of your life and that, why do you do everything that you do? Help out the engineers, do engineering, work on the turbines, help me out, help everybody out, help family out, help yourself out. Why would you say that what would you say you do that for? What would be the why for that?
because that's ideally my ideally ideology of life.
Mhm.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah. Why do you believe you're here for that?
Well, someone had to do it.
Yeah, that's
um,
true. But why? But why you?
why? Because I've been fortunate in my life to be given some pretty amazing skills and abilities. Um, with what I've learned and what I'm able to do and all the rest of it in the engineering world. Um, and yeah, I think that's there's positions and there's tasks suitable for everybody on this planet. And as far as I'm concerned, that what I do is what I do is what I was meant to do.
Okay.
That's my
Cool.
why.
Awesome. And why'd you pick engineering?
Partly to make my father proud. Yeah. My dad's a fitter welder by trade,
Yeah.
and I always looked up to him.
Yeah.
He was always a very, very skilled engineer, come up with some weird and wonderful and cool inventions, and you know, he was a very, very talented. He is a very, very talented individual, and engineering was, um, even at a young age, it was what I loved to do. I was always pulling old lawnmower engines apart, and I was always fixing things, and I was always, you know, um, playing with spanners and all sorts of stuff. And it just feels so natural to me. It feels so comfortable. It's my happy place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you know, as you know, I've got a big machine shop downstairs, CNCs in it. When I'm wanting just to relax, that's my happy place sometimes. Watching
Mm.
watching material be created into something.
It's like a form of meditation, eh?
It is.
Yeah.
Until you break a tool or something like that, and then you snap out of that meditation, and then it's beep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I totally get that one. So obviously, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but engineers in general can, the chance of getting burned out can be quite high, just because there's so much stresses on you to complete things in a time frame, to get to get things done and to create new things. I mean, you think about the America's Cup guys that are designing, those engineers that are on those boats, Team America right now, who just capsized and, put a hole in their boat. The pressures on those guys, even, through this whole thing, or, using that as an example, what would be your number one piece of advice for, engineers, so they don't end up where you did over the last few years?
Well, speaking to engineers, it's interesting you should say that. Yeah, engineers are very, very analytical.
Mm.
Engineers, they go into this mind zone where, and you've seen it firsthand with me when we've been talking something, and I'll just go all technical on you, and you're just like, what the,
Yeah. Yeah.
what the hell? Yeah, look, the best thing that I could suggest to not just engineers, but anybody that's feels uh, like they're going through burnout is, guys and girls, stop, take 5 minutes, look around you, look at your photos of your family and all the rest of you know, look, um, yeah, acknowledge what's outside of your little bubble right now, and realize that you know there you're needed out there in the world, but you also need to look after yourself.
Mm.
Yeah, and fall on, if the task is very stressful or very high, get a team together. Honestly, I've done it on several projects where the workload has been massive, but I've put together, handpicked a team of the best minds and the best abilities to get a job done.
Mm.
An example of that would be when I just finished a hydro project over in Samoa. I was so thankful that I took my team with me, the team that I picked, because I had like-minded individuals there, but also that they allowed me to focus on smaller chunks,
Mm.
and I could trust them, and that's the biggest thing. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that, yeah, like you said, it's important for everybody, but yeah, engineer is a big thing as well. But I think anybody, it's that team that you trust, so that people that enjoy the things that they enjoy can do that one, they can do that thing, cross over some, but takes the pressure off of everybody. It takes the pressure off individuals to have to perform at the highest level over a broad spectrum, which some things are just not that great at. Whereas you
Yeah.
can focus on the singular things, and as well as takes pressure off of you to actually have to complete everything. But then also, yeah, I like that. Take a break. That just take 5 minutes. I know, like, because I mean, I didn't ever do engineering, but I mean, you've seen me with the big 4-wheel drive that we kind of semi built together. Um, when you start to get frustrated, the biggest thing I've found is take 5 minutes. Like, just take a deep breath. Like you said, go look at the photos of your family. Go take 5 minutes and just take a deep breath, and then come back to it. And you'll actually find that you actually get it done twice as fast as if you keep beating your head through it.
Well, like, yeah, you got to look at the bigger picture there, right? So you're taking 5 minutes off your task, right?
Mm,
But say that task is designed to take an hour.
mm,
You take 5 minutes out of that hour, which leaves you 55 minutes. If you're frustrated, that job will take 3 hours,
mm.
and
Because
to
you'll
achieve the
keep
same
screwing
amount.
shit up.
So, yeah, that's what people need to realize is sometimes you just need to stop, take 5, look back, go. And it's amazing how much just having a refresher, you'll go back to the job and go, oh, and just
Yeah, and
yeah.
it flows. And I like how, and that actually relates to your normal life as well. You think about these big projects that you have, or you think about, you're just like, I've got to do this. I've got, your day is just like go, 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 or your week or your month, and you never take 5 minutes. And so everything feels like a struggle, feels like you're trying to push through things. Like, it's like your feet are stuck in quicksand and you're trying to get through it. Whereas if you just took 5 minutes and stopped sinking into the sand and went, okay, big deep breath. What do I do next? Okay, how do I get out of this sand? And then you slowly work your way through it. It's yeah, you can use it in both aspects, I believe.
Our whole lives are projects. If you look
Yeah.
back at it, our whole existence is a project.
Yep.
So, taking 5 sometimes helps not only the job that you're doing, the situation that you're in, but also helps build yourself.
Mm. Yeah, definitely, definitely. So Craig, I know you just started up your own, I know you for a while there you were doing your own business on the side. You kind of put it on the back burner when you've gone through stuff the last few years. But you've now just recently left your normal job and gone into owning your own business, being a business owner, and all the scary stuff that goes with that when it's your only way of making money. What was it that got you to just go, nah, I've got to do this now. Let's move. Take that leap.
So in my lifetime, I've been made redundant 3 times.
Mm.
Back in the early days, very early days when I was still training. And then when I finished the project up here at the power station, and then obviously because of COVID, recently because of COVID. And I got to a point when I'm sitting here looking for the man, figurative term. I went, am I selling my skills down the road? Yes, okay, I get a weekly wage. I was on a good salary. I had a company vehicle. I was happy and comfortable. And I was doing my other business on the weekend. But I got to a point where I went, well, actually, hang on a minute. I feel like I'm selling myself down the road. I feel like that even though I'm turning up for work every day, I'm not giving it my full potential. But I feel like I'm being used.
Mhm.
And I went, okay, now's the time. I've got the assets. I've got the skills. I've got some amazing contacts in the business world for what I do. I wanted to make my own stamp on the industry that I'm in.
What gave you the confidence to let go of the security? Because I know there's going to be a lot of people listening. They're like, oh yeah, but I can't give that security up. I can't give that certainty of the paycheck every week.
the being made redundant, it was the, and I'll put it was the kick in the backside. Go, you know what? I need to drive myself. Yeah. And it's funny that, you know, my father worked for the same company for 47 years.
Wow.
And even though his boss was really, really loyal to him, especially through when my brother was killed back in 2002, his bosses were amazing to him and to my family, and I thank them for that. I look now, and yeah, he was just, there's no employers like that anymore. So the one thing I suggest to people is even though you get your pay, even though you got that security of a paycheck each week, you can be made redundant at any time. You can be put in a situation where you can't work at any time. And the best thing you can do is prepare yourself for those situations. But now working for myself, I'm responsible for my outcome. That's the biggest thing. I'm responsible for it. After the second time being made redundant, I realized then that I needed to be prepared for the future. Hence why I went and bought a CNC machine centers. Hence why I do what I do in the industry, and meet with the right people and make sure they know that I've got these specialized skills to help support their business units. Because at the end of the day, like I said, even though you're in a job security, you never know what life's going to throw at you, especially now that with the COVID situation that we had. You know, mass redundancies, people's employment situations where they're working from home, people can't go to work, you know. That's the security blanket is not there like it used to be.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So yeah. No, that's all. That's awesome, man. Yeah. So it was pretty much you were made redundant. It was like either I go find another job or I'll just go stand on my own 2 feet and be my own boss and care about myself like I want to be cared about.
Yeah.
Awesome, man.
And we're quite fortunate in this sense that our government, to a certain extent, has business startup incentives now. And all I urge to people is if you've got a great idea, or if you've got, you know, something that you've got to offer to the world, develop it, get it out there to market, start, you know, looking into R&D grants, look into, you know, designing and painting things. That's how the world's developed.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, Craig, obviously, you know, you've just started your own engineering thing. So anybody in New Zealand, if they wanted to say, you know, get in touch with you, check out your services, see if, you know, if they can get you to, if they want to chat with you, find out more, how do they get in touch?
So they can email me on crayarms.co, crayarms 2011 at gmail.com.
Yeah, cool.
Or I'm on Facebook, Crayarms.
Cool.
And then I'm on LinkedIn as well.
Sweet, cool. So we'll put the links in the caption of this episode as well. Last question I have for you, Craig. What would be the number one thing you would tell the viewers? Because obviously we got viewers from all walks of life, all around the world. What would you tell viewers the number one thing to prevent or counter burnout?
If you think that you're heading towards burnout, be open and honest with yourself. Stop, take 5, and look around you, because it's a big wide world out there, full of plenty of positives, and it just stop and refocus.
I like it. I like it. Take 5 and stop and refocus, recenter yourself. Any last words, Craig?
Yeah. Enjoy what you do. Enjoy how you live. And look after others.
I love it.
But look after yourself first.
I love it. I love it. Famous last words from Craig. Awesome, guys. So this is another episode of Fight the Burnout, where we talk to people so that we can help you either prevent yourself getting into burning out. So you don't, we don't want you to stop enjoying what you do or where you're at or the loved ones that you have around you. So this is why we do what we do. If you are struggling or if you want to learn more, send us an email, info@knockingdemonfitness.co.nz, and we'll give you some more tools, some tricks. We'll talk about how we can help you specifically. But also make sure you hit those the subscribe buttons, all those fun things, the alert bell so that you get notified next time the next episode comes out. But yeah, like Craig said, just make sure you're looking after yourself. Make sure you take that 5 minutes. Make sure that you look after you, because at the end of the day, if you don't look after yourself, how can you look after somebody else? Anyway, till next time, we love you all. Remember, our motto is train hard, both physically, mentally, so you're the best version of yourself you possibly can be. Until next time, we love you all, and we'll talk soon.